Good morning and welcome to Wednesday morning Zoom. It's not going to be a long Zoom today. We're just going to do some coding in the female genitalia section. So if you don't have your manuals yet, just follow along and kind of take in what we're doing. It's hard to get an exact feel for it if you don't have a manual, but I promise you, once you get it, it's all going to make sense. So I'm actually going to share my screen. So this is chapter 21, the female genital system. And so this is going to be our first scenario. It is simple destruction of one lesion of the vaginal vestibule. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing we have to do, right, is we have to pick out that key term. So that key term is going to tell us what we need to look up in our index. So what did we actually do? We did a destruction. Where did we do the destruction? We did it in the vagina. And then once we go to our index, we're going to see two choices, extensive and simple. So let's do that step together. In the back of our CPT, let's go to D for destruction. And then we're going to go to vagina. And then under vagina on page 1080, it gives us extensive 57065 and simple 57061. So let's look at our scenario. It says simple, right? So our simple code is 50761. So it's the only code that they give us in the index. But we always code two ways, right, Miss Wanda? We always code two ways. So we're actually going to go to our tabular and look for code 57061, and we're going to read the description. 57061 is on page 440, and it says destruction of vaginal lesions, simple. And that's our answer. 57061. Does that make sense, Miss Wanda? I think I have you on mute, so you may need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, good. All right, then we're going to continue on. Now, Madeline, I am not leaving you out, but I know you don't have your manual yet.
Yeah, I am just a tad bit confused, but I did write it down, so I'm trying to write as much down as I can.
Okay. Well, Miss Wanda, tell her that once you get your manuals, it definitely gets easier, doesn't it?
Okay, good.
It does. Well, I guess I could put my, let me put my, I have a document cam, and so I can put my document cam on, I think. The only problem with that is I'm not going to be able to show the slides, so I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm sorry. We will do that next time, okay, Madeline? So you can actually see the CPT manual. But,
Okay.
all right, so let's go to our next slide and our next scenario. All right, move out of the way. All right, so this one was a little confusing. I was doing it earlier. It says cone biopsy, laser of cervix with dilation and curettage. Now, by the rules that we talk about, what did we actually do? That's our key term that we have to look up in the back of our CPC in the index. So normally you would look up a biopsy, right? Because that is what we're doing. But when I looked under biopsy, there were so many codes. And so I said, okay, that's a lot of codes to look through. Let me think about it. Maybe I can go to anatomic sites. So what's our anatomic site? What part of the anatomy? The cervix. So in our index, let's go to cervix. All right, that's going to be on page 1063. So once I started looking at cervix and I started reading down, I said, okay, what am I actually looking for under cervix? I'm looking for a dilation and a curettage. So that's what I looked for. So when I got to dilation and curettage on page 1063 under cervix, it gave me two codes. It gave me 57520 and 57558. Miss Wanda, if I'm going too fast, please slow me down.
I'm right with you. I'm saying it as you saying.
Good deal. I'm glad. All right. So we have a choice of those two codes. So Miss Wanda, what's our next step? What do we do with those two codes?
We go to the front and we look for those two codes in the front and read and see if it's the same thing.
Right. We decide which one of those codes is going to match our scenario. Absolutely right. So we're going to go to 57520. That's on page 444, and I'm just going to hold my book up, Madeline, so you can see what I'm looking at. You can't really see it, but that's I'm looking at these numbers that we've looked up. I can't wait for you to get your manual. Okay, so 57520 is what we're looking for. Is that what I said? I lost my train of thought. Okay, 57520. Okay, so that says a conization of cervix with or without fulgration, with or without dilation and curettage, with or without repair, cold knife, or laser. Now that was a lot of things. Let me explain something. That is a code that could encompass a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
It has with or without, with or without, with or without, several different things. So sometimes we got to really take our time and pick out some words. But that is the answer. And the reason that's the answer, let's look at it. It's because it's the cervix, and it's with dilation and curettage, and it's with a laser. And so that meets our criteria. So that answer is going to be 57520. Do you agree, Miss Wanda?
Yeah.
Hey, Madeline.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wait, I'll once we're not recording, I'll ask you that. Just hang on.
Okay, you said 57. What was the rest of the code?
57. Go ahead, Miss Wanda.
57520.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Hi, Marquetta.
Hey.
All right, so this next one is a colpexy. Colpexy. That's just a funny word, I'm sorry. For displaced uterus using an abdominal approach. So what did we actually do? The funny word, right?
Uh-huh.
We did the colpexy. All right, so in our index, let's look up that word.
It's on page 1069.
Yes, ma'am. Goodness, Miss Wanda, you're fast. So when we look under that category colpexy, we have three choices: abdominal, laparoscopic, and vaginal. So that's going to be the approaches. So what approach did we use here? We used our abdominal approach, right?
Yeah.
So for colpexy, abdominal, what's that code, Miss Wanda?
57280.
Okay, so let's go to 57280 in our tabular.
And that's the code for it.
See, you're too fast for me. I'm still looking. Colpexy, abdominal approach. So, sometimes they may look a little bit intimidating, but they're not. They're easy. All right, so here's our next one. Extensive biopsy of mucosa of vagina requiring closure. So what is our key term? What do we need to look up in the index? Madeline, do you know what we need to look up in the index? What did we do?
Hold on. I would say the biopsy of
Right.
words that I know.
Well, you know what? That's exactly right. The term, what did we do? We did just simply the biopsy. So we're going to start on biopsy again. Can y'all tell in the female genitalia system, there's lots of biopsies. So we're going to look under that biopsy again.
Biopsy 1048.
Okay, and so where do you think we go next, Miss Wanda? Biopsy of what?
Biopsy of the vagina.
Yeah, that's where I would go next too. So biopsy, then we're going to go vagina.
And they have 4 codes.
Right. Well, it has more than that. It has 57100 through 57105, and so I'll write mine down. So that, because I never remember all those numbers. And then it gives us code 57109 and 57421. So our next step is we've got to take that group of codes that they've given us, and we've got to go decide which code is going to meet the requirement for this specific scenario. So 57100. So 57100 is a biopsy, and it says biopsy of vaginal mucosa simple. 57105 is extensive, requiring suture. Okay. 57109 with removal of paravaginal tissue. And then 21, I don't even see that one anymore. It may not even be a updated code. Okay, so out of those three codes, Marquetta, which code do you think is the answer?
I'm looking.
Okay, it's on page 440.
Okay.
So we're looking at an extensive biopsy of the mucosa of the vagina, and it required closure. So that's going to mean that it requires suturing, staples, something of that nature. So our choices are 57100, 57105 or 57109?
Is it 57105?
Miss Wanda, do you agree?
Yes.
I agree too. That's right. So 57105. I'm sorry, did I scare you, Marquetta?
And then wonder like, no, y'all don't do that to me. I thought I was wrong.
No, you were right.
No, I was about to say something. I was reading it again. I said expensive, and I had to look.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
And I told yeah, that's it.
that's wonderful. That's right. That's right. So we have one more to do today. I told you it was going to be a quick class today. Oh no, I have two more. So this is the colposynthesis. These are easy, right? There's just one word. So we're not gonna talk about it. Let's race. See who can get the code fastest. Y'all, I'm so slow. I know you're gonna beat me.
Wrong.
Oh, y'all are seriously looking through that book.
Yeah, you hear my pages.
It's on 1069, and the only code they have for it is 57020.
Okay.
I'm on the page looking like
It's at the
Is at the very bottom in the middle column.
Yeah.
1069.
Okay. So let's double check it. 57020. Colposynthesis. 57020. Good job. All right, we have one more. Let me move this out of the way. Simple complete vulvectomy.
It's on page 1259.
Miss Wanda, you're too fast.
You said 1259? I'm still okay.
And the code for it would be 56625.
What is the code again, Miss Wanda?
56625.
56625. Yeah.
You guys are doing fantastic.
And that's the code for it.
That is the code for it. Miss Wanda and Marquetta, that is great. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to give everybody in class today 5 bonus points.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
So,
you.
and I just got a text and I'm needed on an administrative meeting. Hey, I'm going to go ahead